Please stand for the pledge and the invocation.
Father, as we gather today to go about our public business, let us be mindful of all the great gifts you have bestowed on us recently. Most beneficial moisture that we receive. We're greatly appreciative. And Lord, be with us as we make decisions today for the county and all our citizens. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have any changes or corrections to that? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
So it was moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, and that motion carries. We do have a special presentation this morning, Nolan Till, item 3A.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners.
Good morning.
The Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider and approve a proclamation recognizing and supporting the United States' semi-quincentennial America 250 celebration. A little background on this. 2026 marks our 250th anniversary for the United States of America, commonly referred to as the United States semi-quincentennial or America 250. This nationwide commemoration recognizes signing the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and encourages communities across the country to reflect on the nation's history, civic values, and democratic traditions. County governments have played a significant role in the development and administration of local communities throughout American history. Finney County, which was established in 1883 after it was incorporated from Sequoia and Finney County in 1873, provides vital public services and leadership to residents through the Board of County Commissioners and county departments. The proposed proclamation formally recognizes and supports the America 250 celebration and encourages educational, historical, and community engagement opportunities within the Finney County leading up to and during the 2026 celebration year. The proclamation aligns with the National America 250 initiative and recognizes the importance of preserving local history while promoting civic pride and public participation. So 2 alternatives ahead of you. Board of County Commissioners may approve the proclamation recognizing and supporting the United States' semi-quincentennial America 250 celebration in Finney County, Kansas. Or alternative 2, the Board of County Commissioners may deny the proclamation. Staff recommends alternative 1. Any questions? Oh, and there's no fiscal impact.
Any questions or comments?
I'd like to make a motion that we, the Board of County Commissioners, approve the proclamation recognizing and supporting the United States semi-quincentennial America 250 celebration in Finney County, Kansas. Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? My only comment is, trying to remember the semi-quincentennial.
Yeah, I didn't want to stumble on that too much.
That's kind of challenging. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And that motion carries.
Thank you.
Nolan. Next, we have item 4, which is public comment. I would like to let the public know that we are making a change to the public comment portion of our meeting based on the fact that we want to be able to allow more people to speak on items that may be on our agenda that may not have realized that the only open hearing that we had previously was at the Planning Commission. So this just gives folks an extra opportunity. And I will read that. We do have some rules and guidelines, and this will be subject to the county commissioners editing or approving. Number 1, the Finney County Board of County Commissioners, the County Commission will hear public input on projects during the public comment portion of the meeting. Public input will commence at a time designated by the County Commission Chair. Number 2, decorum. The county commission meeting is open to the public, but public input on projects will only occur during the public comment period of the commission meeting. Such input will be subject to the guidelines and rules adopted by the county commission. There is not a separate item on the agenda where attendees may voice their comments and concerns about a project. If an attendee wishes to speak on a project, then they must fill out a public input card as set forth below in 7A and provide their input during the public comment period. Public input may occur by completing a public input card with no requirement to also speak. When a meeting attendee is not delivering their dedicated oral public input, please refrain from making noise or other disruption. Please remain respectful. Number 3, written public input should include at the beginning of the person's name, permanent residence address, and identify if the person lives, owns real property, or owns a business in Finney County, or is authorized to deliver written public comment input on behalf of a Finney County property owner, business, or resident. Number 4, written public input may be submitted to the zoning administrator in person prior to the end of the public input portion of that meeting, including in advance of the meeting by 5 p.m. on the Friday before the county commission meeting, either via email to admin@finneycountyks.gov or hard copy to the zoning administrator office, P.O. Box M in Garden City, Kansas. During the meeting, when an attendee delivers their oral input or submits a public input card. Number 5, voluminous or technical written input should be summarized at the beginning of the written materials for county commission members to easily and quickly understand the purpose and overview of the input. Further, voluminous or technical material might not be read prior to the public input, and in lieu of each county commission member reading such material, the required summary of it might be only what each county commissioner reads. Number 6, written public input received by county commission members after a time designated by the county commission chair likely will not be read or read in full prior to or during the project's agenda item portion of the meeting. Number 7, oral public input might be subject to the following guidelines and rules. A, attendees desiring to speak need to fill out a public input card available at the meeting location entrance, and that's actually up here at the desk to my left with Dory. Prior to the start of the public comment portion of the meeting. Sign-in requires full legal name, permanent residence address, whether the attendee lives, owns real property, or owns a business in Finney County, or is authorized to deliver oral public input on behalf of a Finney County property owner, business, or resident, whether the speaker is a landowner within 1,000 feet of a project boundary/statutory notice area, and identify which, including all project, the speaker wishes to address. Any meeting attendee may sign in to indicate whether they support, are neutral, or oppose a project without also signing in to speak by filling out the written comment portion at the bottom of the public input card. The speaking order of the public comment period might be designated by the county commission based on certain facts. For example, without limitation, perhaps owners of land within the project land area or within 1,000 feet from the project land area will be allowed to speak first. Perhaps other groups of attendees will be allowed to speak based on their location or relationship with Finney County. Speakers might be asked to provide additional information when they come to the podium. Attendees with no or insufficient Finney County or proposed project site connection might not be allowed to speak if time does not permit for them to speak. So these attendees should consider submitting advance written input in lieu of oral input. More than one attendee authorized to deliver oral public input on behalf of a Finney County property owner, business, or resident might not be allowed to speak if time does not permit for them to speak. So these additional authorized representatives should consider submitting advance written input in lieu of oral input. C, each speaker might be limited, for example, to 3 minutes. A speaker might be limited to even less time if the speaker is repeating content already delivered. Although speakers remain welcome to come to the mic and indicate that they hold or share the same or similar input as content already delivered. A speaker should identify which project they would like to address, including if their comments apply to more than one project. D, attendees cannot cede or donate unused speaking time to another attendee. E, oral input must be directed to the county commission as a whole and is one way, meaning the public input does not include any county commission member response or request to engage. 9, the chair may require a violator of the adopted guidelines and rules to leave the meeting and/or cede their oral public input time allotted. Number 10, during the meeting, the county commission might pause to modify these public input guidelines and retains discretion whether to continue the deliberations for any project to a future county commission meeting. We have any comments on that from the commission?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the public input guidelines as read and as published in our meeting guidelines in the agenda packet.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. And with that, I would like to open the public comment period, but since we changed the rules, I just would like to make sure that anyone who would like to make public comments has signed in with Dory. If not, you can go ahead and do so now. Okay, we will open the public comment session. It is 8:41. We would like to welcome everyone interested in this meeting. If anyone would like to speak to one or more of the projects or agenda items before us today, please make sure you have filled out a public input card available at the front of the entrance and turned it into the county clerk. At this time, it doesn't appear that we have very many, so we can stick to the typical 5-minute allowance for those comments, and we could potentially give you a little bit longer if necessary. I'm going to go ahead and read one that we received via email before we have people step up to the podium. This is from Kathy Fleury of 2104 Willow Leaf in Garden City. I'm writing to strongly oppose the construction of a data center in Finney County. While these facilities are often marketed as symbols of innovation and progress, the reality is that they place enormous burdens on ordinary people while primarily benefiting massive corporations and private investors. Data centers consume staggering amounts of electricity and water. Many of these facilities require millions of gallons of water annually just to cool their servers, draining local resources while communities are already facing rising utility costs, drought concerns, and strained infrastructure. At the same time, they place immense pressure on electrical grids, increasing the likelihood of higher energy prices and instability for residents who are already struggling to afford basic necessities. These facilities also contribute heavily to environmental degradation. Despite corporate promises of green technology, data centers often rely on fossil fuel-powered grids and backup diesel generators that worsen air pollution and carbon emissions. Entire ecosystems are disrupted by land clearing, industrial development, noise pollution, and excessive heat generation. Communities are expected to sacrifice green space, wildlife habitats, and quality of life so corporations can expand digital infrastructure with little accountability. Beyond environmental concerns, data centers are fundamentally unfair to the public. They consume enormous resources while creating relatively few long-term jobs compared to the amount of land, power, and tax incentives they receive. Residents are left dealing with the consequences: increased traffic, constant industrial noise, utility costs, declining property values, and stressed public infrastructure, while billion-dollar technology companies reap the profits. There are also growing concerns about the long-term social implications of unchecked data center expansion. As more aspects of daily life become digitized and monitored, communities are being transformed into industrial support systems for surveillance, AI development, behavioral tracking, and endless corporate data harvesting without meaningful public consent. Citizens should not be expected to surrender environmental stability, affordable utilities, and local autonomy in exchange for infrastructure that overwhelmingly serves corporate interests. Communities deserve transparency, environmental protections, and the right to reject projects that threaten public well-being. Local governments should prioritize the needs of residents over the demands of powerful technology companies asking for subsidies, tax breaks, and unrestricted expansion. I urge the Finney County Commissioners and other decision makers to stop approvals for a new data center development until comprehensive environmental studies, infrastructure impact assessments, and meaningful public hearings are conducted. The public deserves honest answers about who truly benefits from these projects and who is expected to pay the price. Just say no, because we, the majority of people in Finney County, do not want this data center here. And again, that was from Kathy Fleury. That's the only written that we received via email. We do have one from a resident who is here, and that is Therese Hartnett of Sterling Road in Garden City, and she does have written testimony, which I believe she prefers that I read. Is that correct, Therese? You'll read it? Okay, she will be reading it. Come on up.
Hello. First of all, I wanted to.
Go ahead and pull the microphone down so there you go.
Okay. My name is Therese Hartnett. I'm a Finney County landowner, a voter, an attorney who served the Garden City as a public defender for many years. Before I start, I just wanted to say I've talked to people who are adjacent to this project. There's corn planting now. This is a middle of the week. It's not a great time to have a hearing like this. People, I think, are sort of despondent that it's a done deal. So I just think, the agenda was published late last week, and then we have the hearing here today. I think there's procedural issues with how the public is being informed and how much lead time we have in order for people to come here if they want to, and I just wanted to let you guys know what I was thinking about this. I also appreciate all the work that everyone did on the special use permit application. However, my problem is with the response by the applicants. So I'm opposed to the commission granting this permit. In other words, a zoning waiver for a myriad of reasons. The applicants actually claim that this project that they're proposing, this is a quote, will represent the highest and best use of the land. I beg to differ. This is an insult. Finney County farmers and ranchers have been wise stewards of the land for generations. They produce the most valuable commodity there is, that's food. Because of this essential function, we help our ranchers, our farmers, we advocate, we subsidize them, we give them tax breaks when possible. We let them use pivot avigation, their land is zoned agriculture, and they have substantial water rights. Because they produce something that the world needs, we have, they have generous water rights, but this zoning change would allow, there's, all right, and I'm going to stick to my script, but there's no justification for providing similar advantages to industrial developments who do not provide such benefits to the community. It's not a valid comparison to say it's a benefit to the community to replace productive cropland with a complex that removes land from crop production. Sherlock claims the project will save water. Well, in the application, they say they're not going to burden water utilities. Well, there's no water utilities out in the rural Finney. So that's, they're not even answering the question. I find that very arrogant. They also don't discuss the actual water use for the best storage, which is will probably require a cooling system. Apparently, there's new technologies that use less water. We have no information about this. Any kind of approval of this permit is premature. Once the zoning rights are changed, the zoning rights are changed. Right now, we have a bulk work against an industrial use on this land. Until we get proper information, I don't think we should move forward. Property owners have rights on their land in accordance with zoning laws, which were enacted for the benefit of the community. The zoning is exactly what we're going to change if we allow this permit, this special use permit, to go to be granted. There's a rush to build these projects before the tax abatement expires, but Finney County should not be driven by applicants' deadline. pilot agreements that circumvent the state tax abatement by providing a discretionary slush fund for schools should not be an incentive, certainly not a motivation, for granting permission for such momentous changes to our county. Thousands of acres of cropland taken out of production. That's silage, that's corn, alfalfa, and wheat silage. That's going to affect our ranchers and feedlots in the area. The land presently supports the agricultural base of our society.
Therese, you have 1 minute.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna,
We do have a copy.
okay, I just want to get down to the bottom of it then. Basically, the elephant in the room is that there's plans for a data center. They've even included the definition in their list of, in their definition list. The DIC is a data center. So no one is surprised that they're planning to build a data center. This is the next application coming down the road. So I just want to read my conclusion here, which is, sorry. Okay, today you will vote for the zoning waiver, which is called a special use permit. If you allow this project to go through, you're rolling the ball a long way toward the completion of this whole project. 2,000 registered voters in Finney County have already signed an online petition to stop the construction of this data center. This Finney County has a place in our nation and the world as an important agricultural producer. In the midst of beef empire days, we should wholeheartedly embrace our importance as an agricultural powerhouse and let this questionable opportunity pass.
Thank you, Therese. And the last one that I have this morning is Stephen Guy. And Stephen, did you wish to speak this morning? Yes. Okay, come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead and state your name for the public.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and state your name for the public.
Steve Guy.
Okay.
I'd like to speak on the Power Range wind farm and solar and battery storage that's proposed. I'm wondering how necessary this really is. If the purpose of the project is to supply power to a data center, it seems to me they could power it with gas generating plant and avoid all of the environmental impact that wind generators, solar panels, and battery storage entail. You could put in a gas generating plant that would supply the data center and save, according to Power Range's own numbers, maybe $500 million, plus all of the environmental impact that windmills and solar panels and battery storage would entail. The footprint of a gas generating plant would be minimal compared to all of this other stuff. The other thing is the total amount of electricity required for this may not be necessary as technology moves forward. We saw with fiber optics that data transmission through long distances was tremendously reduced. New technology coming online, known as photonics, will reduce the power requirements of these data centers by somewhere around 90%, which means that all of this would be unnecessary. MIT is working on that now, and they're very far along on that technology. The other thing is we live on River Road out by Deerfield. With the expansion of the dairy just east and north of Deerfield, road traffic, truck traffic on West River Road is just tremendous. I don't know how many trucks a day go on that, maybe 1,000 a day. And I don't know what the construction routing will be for this, but if it's on River Road, it's going to deteriorate rapidly. So our quality of life has already been reduced because of all the traffic. We just live right off the River Road, maybe 200 feet, and of course the cattle trucks and stuff start at 4 o'clock in the morning and it goes on till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Anyway, I guess my main comment is that I'm not sure this is necessary. I know there's a lot of money to be made by construction companies and other companies, but the technology as we move forward, I think within the next few years will prove that none of this is really necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that is all that we have on public comment. Is that correct? All right, I will close the public comment portion of the meeting and direct that the comments, both received by email and in person, be submitted into the record for today's meeting. And item 6A, 2027 high-risk rural road.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. This morning, the Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider and approve the Selection Committee's recommendation to select Kirkham Michael to perform preliminary engineering PE design services for the federal fiscal year FFY 2027 high-risk rural road HRRR project on Old Highway 83 and approve the chair to sign the agreement for PE design services. Finney County was notified in April of 2025 that it was awarded $600,000 in federal funding for the FFY 2027 HRRR project on Old Highway 83. The HRRR project is administered by KDOT through the Highway Safety Improvement Program, HSIP, and is intended to improve safety on rural roadways with demonstrated history of risk or severe crashes. Under the HRRR program, federal funds may be used to cover a minimum of 90% of eligible construction and construction engineering CE costs. Finney County is responsible for all non-participating costs, including 100% of PE and 10% of construction and CE costs. A request for qualifications, RFQ, was seeking qualified consulting firms to perform PE and CE services for the 2027 HRRR project was advertised on April 16th of 2026 with a submittal deadline of April 30th of 2026. Statement of qualifications, SOQs, were submitted by 4 consulting firms. A 5-member selection committee comprised of county staff and community members reviewed and evaluated the SOQs on May 8th of 2026. The selection committee made their recommendation utilizing the scoring criteria established in the RFQ evaluation sheet, including ability to perform the desired services within the time prescribed, past performance, training of staff, previous experience with similar work and knowledge of KDOT project procedures, commitment of resources, familiarity with the project area, and accessibility of the firm's office. The final average scores are as follows within your packet. Based on the selection committee's review and scoring, Kirkham Michael received the highest overall score. Kirkham Michael demonstrated through a thorough understanding of the county's project, strong qualifications, and extensive experience related to similar HRRR projects. They were notified of selection on May 20th of 2026. Kirkham Michael provided the county with an agreement for PE services for the Board of County Commissioners' consideration. The total proposed cost for Kirkham Michael to perform PE services is $76,000. Since CE is a participating cost, an agreement for CE will be submitted at a later date as a third-party agreement between Finney County, Kirkham Michael, and KDOT. There are 2 alternatives before you this morning. First, The Board of County Commissioners may approve the selection for preliminary and construction engineering services from Kirkham Michael, approve the chair to sign the agreement with Kirkham Michael for preliminary engineering services, and approve the cost of $76,000 to be paid from the Special Highway Fund. Or two, the Board of County Commissioners may decline the selection of Kirkham Michael and give staff further direction. Staff recommends alternative 1 to approve the selection for preliminary and construction engineering services from Kirkham Michael, approve the chair to sign the agreement with Kirkham Michael for preliminary engineering services, and approve the cost of $76,000 to be paid from the Special Highway Fund. Finney County is responsible for all non-participating costs for the FFY 2027 HRRR project, including 100% of the preliminary engineering costs. If the agreement is approved, the total fiscal impact for PE services will be $76,000. It is proposed to utilize the Special Highway Fund to cover the cost of this project. The current fund balance in the Special Highway Fund is $5,606,679.79. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Mackenzie?
Mine's more of a comment, Madam Chair. Kirkham Michael was told to up their game. When we first came on this commission, the project over in the Northwest Industrial District, using Kirkham Michael as engineers, has not gone very far, given the score recommendations. Is anybody from Kirkham Michael here as to comments on this, or are you doing all of it?
No, there is no one from Kirkham Michael here.
Well, I'll be voting against the staff recommendation until we get better service out of Kirkham Michael.
Any other comments?
I would like to point out that for this project, this is a different team than we usually work with at Kirkham Michael. There is a different project manager for this project, and a different, the only one that we would still be working with would be John Riggins, which does, is the primary for like construction engineering inspections. So, but it is a different team that we're working with.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Mr. Administrator, do you have a recommendation to us specifically on this issue?
I do.
Service.
We've had good service with John Riggins and his team over there outside of the Northwest Industrial Corridor. So I agree with staff's recommendation on this project.
All right. Perhaps I should change my mind.
Commissioner, I share your concerns. As you know, I was the one who made that comment previously, and just haven't seen a significant project that you know, has shown that they've upped their game. So I'm a little trepidatious about approving this, but I do rely heavily on staff's opinions and their thoughts. Do you have any comments, commissioners?
No, I would echo your sentiments, Madam Chair. Since it's a separate team, I would vote in favor, but they have to up their game. And I think we need to, down the road, consider putting this out for bid for our engineering services and see what we get overall.
And I was on the selection committee that selected this group, and I and everybody else on the committee, after the scoring and reviewing the applications, was quite satisfied with the team that's going to be a part of this project.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
I would move that the commission approve the selection for preliminary and construction engineering services from Kirkham Michael, approve the chair to sign the agreement with Kirkham Michael for preliminary engineering services, and approve the cost of $76,000 to be paid from the Special Highway Fund.
There is a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Was that 3-2? All right, motion does carry.
Thank you.
And Kirkham Michael, this is your opportunity to shine. And next item on the agenda is 6B, to purchase 3 cardiac monitor defibrillator units. And for that, we have Kenny.
Morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Kenny Smith, Finney County EMS Director. The Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider and approve the purchase of 3 cardiac monitor defibrillator units. Cardiac monitor defibrillator units, say that 3 times fast, are essential equipment utilized by Finney County EMS personnel in the assessment, monitoring, and treatment of patients throughout Finney County. These devices provide cardiac rhythm monitoring, defibrillation, pacing, blood pressure monitoring, oxygen saturation monitoring, carbon dioxide monitoring, and additional advanced life support functions necessary for emergency medical care. Updating equipment is critical to maintain reliable emergency medical response capabilities. Finney County EMS currently operates 6 ambulances and 3 administrative response vehicles, supported by 9 cardiac monitor defibrillator units. 6 of the monitor defibrillator units are Zoll units, and 3 are physio control units. Of the 9 units currently in service, 3 of the physio control units were purchased in 2011, 2015, and 2018. 5 of the Zolls were purchased in 2020, and the last one was purchased in 2024. Due to daily operational use and normal equipment wear, these monitor defibrillator units have an expected service life of approximately 5 to 7 years. To maintain reliable emergency medical service operations and establish a long-term equipment replacement plan, staff is recommending the phased replacement of existing monitor defibrillator units. This request would replace aging equipment and standardize monitor defibrillator unit inventory throughout the department. Standardization of the equipment improves operational consistency, reduces training requirements, simplifies maintenance, and minimizes the need to stock multiple supply types and accessories. As part of the procurement process, Finney County EMS contacted 3 companies for quotations related to cardiac defibrillator, monitor defibrillator unit replacement. Quotations were received from Zoll Medical Corporation and Physio Control, namely Stryker is the main controller on that. And then Philips Healthcare was contacted but did not submit a response or a quote. The Zoll quotation includes trade-in allowances for existing equipment and qualifies Finney County EMS for a Kansas Board of EMS Craft Grant Program Award, which is the amount of $17,912.43 for one of the Zoll Xenix monitors. The Zoll quotation totals $183,288.44 prior to grant reimbursement. The quote includes 3 Xenix monitor defibrillator units, accessories, preventive maintenance coverage, and trade-in allowances for 2 Zoll X series monitor defibrillator units and 3 of the Physio Control LifePak units. The Physio Control or Stryker quote for 3 LifePak 35 monitor defibrillator units totals $134,608.44 after trade-in allowances. The alternatives before you is the Board of County Commissioners may approve the purchase of 3 Zoll Xenix cardiac monitor defibrillator units from Zoll Medical Corporation in the amount of $183,288,044, with a projected net county cost of $165,376.01 after reimbursement through the Kansas Board of EMS Craft Grant Program. Number 2, the Board of County Commissioners may approve the purchase of 3 LifePak 35 cardiac monitor defibrillator units from Physio Control or Stryker in the amount of $134,608.44 after trade-in allowances. Or number 3, the Board of County Commissioners may decline both quotations and provide additional direction to staff regarding future equipment replacement planning. Recommendation, staff recommends alternative 1. The Board of County Commissioners approve the purchase of 3 Zoll Xenix cardiac monitor defibrillator units from Zoll Medical Corporation in the amount of $183,288.44 with a projected net cost of $165,376.01 after reimbursement through the Kansas Board of EMS Craft Grant. Fiscal note, this purchase was not included as a planned expenditure within the current operating budget. However, the request represents the replacement and modernization of critical EMS equipment necessary to maintain reliable emergency medical response capabilities. Funding for the purchase will be paid from the EMS Equipment Reserve Fund, which has a balance of approximately $655,904. Following the purchase, the EMS Equipment Reserve Fund would have a balance of approximately $490,527.99. And I will take any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do.
Yes, Commissioner Utes.
Kenny,
sir.
how many of these monitors do you have total?
We have 9 total.
So this would be a rotation types?
Yes.
Fine.
So right now, we have the 6 ambulances that all have Zoll. So all of them are uniform. Our supervisor vehicle has one in it, but it is the Life Pack, and the other 2 honestly are sitting on the shelf not being used because they're, 1, not Zoll, because that's what we use, and 2, they're just, the life expectancy has gone down, so the maintenance on them hasn't even been done. After this, what we would do was we would take one of the Zolls and put it in the supervisor vehicle, and then the other 2 Zolls and the 3 Life Packs would be on trade-in.
And is there a reason, I mean, the bid on the Life Pack is much cheaper?
I kind of looked into it. I didn't know offhand if it has a lot of the supplies that was in there. I've also heard, and because I don't have experience with the Life Pack 35, that there is some problems, internal problems that they've been having that I've been hearing people have. Why it's so much cheaper, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if there's a maintenance plan on there. I kind of skimmed over that quote a little bit, but I honestly didn't see that either, so.
Any other comments or questions? Yes, Commissioner
Kenny,
Jones.
one quick question.
Yep.
Is there any way we take any of this money out of the building as part of the sales tax? Was that equipped on the sales tax?
Yeah, I don't think we can use those funds for this.
Yeah.
Commissioner Schultz, did you have?
I do. Now that I have my mic on, apologize for that before. Technology escapes me regularly. This also seems to be a choice, Director, that you want the Zoll units for uniformity within your building and your department.
Yes, sir.
And those costs are about $10,000 apiece, if I've read the difference in price correctly. And I think that given the leadership that you've provided to this agency and the new building coming in, and I want everybody to know that it's a little bit off key, but Commissioner Jones in charge of that building tells me that we're probably going to come in under budget on it, and so it's the same tax dollars, and I will be voting to approve the request of alternate number 1.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none. Do we have a motion? We do not have a motion yet.
I will move to approve alternative number 1, to approve the purchase of the 3 Zoll Zenix cardiac monitor defibrillator units from Zoll Medical Corporation in the amount of $183,288.44, with a project net county cost of $165,376.01 after reimbursement and application by the county to the Kansas Board of EMS KRAF grant program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.
Next, we have item 6D, Resolution 17-2026, appointment of Finney County Local Health Officer and Deputy Health Officer.
Oops, 6C.
Oh, I did, sorry, 6C.
That's not me.
Man, I tried to skip over you.
All right.
I beg your pardon, this is selection of architectural and design services for the roofing project.
Good morning again, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I didn't introduce myself last time. Nolan Till, Director of Building Maintenance and Special Projects. In front of you today, the Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider and approve the selection of a firm for architectural and design services for our roof and repair project. Finney County has been actively evaluating and planning for a roof repair and replacement project following significant hail damage sustained for multiple county-owned facilities on July 6, 2025. Staff inspections, insurance evaluations, and subsequent facility assessments identified a widespread roof deterioration and storm-related damage affecting numerous county buildings. Travelers Insurance completed updated damage and repair estimates for affected facilities, establishing an estimated replacement cost value of approximately $1.86 million for roof-related repairs and replacement across county facilities. Staff, along with personnel and roofing professionals, evaluated 28 county facilities and determined that 11 buildings required repair or replacement to prevent continued deterioration and addressed long-term facility maintenance needs for the county. Staff identified the need for a professional architectural and design services to ensure the county develops a detailed and comprehensive scope of work for each of these roof projects. Due to the complexity of roof systems, varying facility conditions and insurance coordination requirements, and the need for phased project management across multiple buildings, staff determined it would be the county's best interest to retain a qualified architectural and design firm to assist with the project evaluation, technical specifics, and bid development, construction oversight, and project closeouts. As part of this effort, county issued a request for qualifications, an RFQ, for professional architectural and design services on April 14th, 2026. The RFQ requested firms experienced in public and commercial roofing projects to provide services including facility assessments, design development, technical specifications, bidding assistance, construction administration, and project closeout services for multiple county-owned facilities. The RFQs were due back to the county on May 13th, 2026, at which time a 7-member selection committee reviewed and evaluated submitted qualifications utilizing a scoring criteria that established within an RFQ evaluation sheet, including relevant experience, project team qualifications, technical approach, past performances, capacity, and familiarity with regional construction practices. You can see with the table, this is the average scores. The Architect LLC, which is out of Garden City, Kansas, scored a 95.6. GMCN Architects, Garden City, Kansas, 95.4 score. And then Folk Architects, which is out of Topeka, Kansas, they had an 89.6 average score. Based on the evaluation committee's review and scoring, the Architect LLC received the highest overall score. The Architect LLC demonstrated strong qualifications, extensive experience related to public and commercial roofing projects, including multiple facility project coordination, roofing systems, design, technical specifications, development, and construction administration services. The firm's proposal demonstrated a thorough understanding of county's project goals and provided a comprehensive approach for evaluating facilities, prioritizing repairs, coordinating construction activities, and minimizing operational disruptions. The use of a qualified architectural and design firm is expected to improve our planning, provide a more detailed and enforceable scope of work for our contractors, assist with the insurance reconciliation and documentation, reduce unforeseen construction issues, improve long-term quality control, and project oversight throughout the roof replacement and repair process. So ahead of you, I have 4 alternatives. The first one is the Board of County Commissioners may approve the selection of the architectural and design services for the Architect LLC. Alternative 2 is the Board of County Commissioners may approve the selection of architectural and design services for GMCN Architects. Alternative 3, the Board of County Commissioners may approve the selection of architectural and design services for Folk Architects. Or alternative 4, the Board of County Commissioners may decline the selection of any of these firms and give staff further direction. Staff recommends alternative 1, which is the Board of County Commissioners may approve the selection of architectural and design services from the Architect LLC. The fiscal impact, the firm selected for the architectural and design services will be paid out of the Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund, which is GL code 171-16-5510, and that currently has a balance of the fund for $2.9 million and change remaining in that balance. And I have several attachments with their qualifications. Any questions? And I do believe Manny with the Architect LLC is here, and I don't see Desiree with GMCN Architects, but any questions?
Yes, Commissioner Jones.
Does Travelers require that you retain an architect for these roof repairs?
It doesn't require it. We just felt like we'd get more control over what the scope of work is and more detailed work, and then hold the contractors more responsible for their actual work.
So staff was concerned that we didn't have the expertise on staff to write a detailed specification sheet to make sure that all bidders for these projects were bidding apples to apples. Yeah, so instead of having a broad specification checklist for these bidders to bid on, we wanted to make sure it's very detailed. So that's why we went out for architectural design.
Well, this is not disparaging architects. I'm just questioning, in the past, the contractors provided the different steps, stages they're gonna use.
Yeah.
And it was
I think we just, like Derek mentioned, we just want to make sure it's apples to apples and detailed. I mean, one contractor may be like, oh, you only need this on the roof, and we survive for 5 years, and then we got to redo the roof again, while somebody else might be, oh, you actually need this, level.
Will their fees be based off of the total?
Yes.
I would say that this process is, I maybe wish that we would have utilized this type of a process when we were redoing the air conditioning systems to the library and those other places way back when, instead of listening to the contractor and what they were proposing. If we would have had an outside source. Yeah. The provider of the units, yeah. So I'm kind of, I like this particular process.
Any other comments? I just have one comment, Nolan. That looks like it was a pretty close race between the.
It was.
And GMCN. Can you tell me who was on the committee, the selection committee?
Yeah. It was Abigail, I'm not going to know last names, from Public Works, I apologize. Larry Brumgart was on it as well. Myself, Jeremy Ortiz, as he has a little bit of experience down at the fairgrounds. Stephanie Siebert, fairgrounds. That's 5. Who was Oh, Beth Beavers at the JDC and the CSE. Who was my other one? I'll get that answer for you.
Commissioner on,
There wasn't. No. And then our county administrator reviewed them after the scores came in as well.
right,
So.
okay. Larry, do you have any comments that you'd like to make regarding this, since you were on the committee? You don't have to, but if you have any.
I don't. I mean, I know that we reviewed all the different firms and was going off of what we could come up with, what they gave us for information on their past projects. Kind of, a little bit of a reference, which came down to what was provided, but, that's all I had.
Thank you.
What is their percentage for fees for the architects?
Those will be determined after we select a firm.
Does that sound acceptable, Commissioner? Do you have any comment to that, Derek?
Yeah, in their RFQ, they have that not to exceed amount that's broken down and kind of how they go about their fee structure. Typically, it's around 7%, but I think Manny, with the architect, can kind of explain a little bit how their fee might be broken down if you'd like to.
Would you like to speak?
I wasn't planning on to, but yeah. Yeah, so normally a fee structure like this would be based on the total project cost. And it's with an agreement on whether you can negotiate, even further down if you'd like to. Normally and size of project also determines if it's a smaller project, it's a higher fee. If it's a bigger project, it's a lower fee. Obviously, you guys went through that with the jail and negotiated that down to a 7, I believe. And so this would be no different than that. It would just be on a negotiated contract for that percentage, so.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
It doesn't seem right to me that we don't at least have an estimate of the cost. before we make a decision on firm. I think it might be a good idea to have that before we make a decision on this. Any thoughts, Steve?
And this is just to select a firm, then we can enter into a contract with them and go through negotiations at that time, which that would come back to the county commission. So that way we can choose a firm and start those negotiations.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve alternative one. The Board of County Commission may approve the selection for architectural and design services from the architect LAC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay.
And that motion carries. Thank you, Nolan.
Thank you.
And Nolan, do you have another one?
I'm given an update at the end.
Claim?
Not today, no.
Today, okay, all right. Next, we have 6D, a resolution 17-2026 for the appointment of Finney County Local Health Officer and Deputy Health Officer. Katrina.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. This is my first time doing this, so if I go off the rails, feel free to call me out. I am here today to present you some information about appointing me as the local health officer. The Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider and approve Resolution 17-2026, appointing Katrina Lowry as Finney County Local Health Officer and retaining Anna Alex Titus, APRN, as Deputy Health Officer. Some background. Pursuant to KSA 65201 and KSA 65202, the Board of County Commissioners serves as the Board of Health for Finney County and is required to appoint a local health officer who serves in an advisory capacity to the County Board of Health. Kansas law allows counties with populations under 100,000 to appoint a qualified local health program administrator as the local health officer when supported by an appropriately licensed medical consultant. On September 15th, 2025, the board adopted Resolution 28-2025, appointing Danilina Ontiveros, RN, as the Finney County Local Health Officer while serving as Interim Public Health Director. At that time, Anna Alex Titus, APRN, was also appointed to serve as Deputy Health Officer. Katrina Lowry began serving as the Finney County Public Health Director on May 5th, 2026, and possesses the educational and professional qualifications necessary to fulfill the statutory responsibilities of the local health officer. Staff recommends appointing Katrina Lowry as the Finney County Local Health Officer and retaining Anna Alex Titus, APRN, as Deputy Health Officer to ensure continuity of leadership, public health operations, and medical oversight services within the Health Department. Resolution 17-2026 also repeals and replaces Resolution 28-2025 in its entirety upon adoption. Alternatives. The Board of County Commissioners may approve Resolution 17-2026, appointing Katrina Lowry as the Finney County Local Health Officer and retaining Anna Alex Titus, APRN, as Deputy Health Officer. 2, the Board of County Commissioners may deny Resolution 17-2026 and retain the current appointments established under Resolution 28-2025. The Board of County Commissioners may provide staff further direction regarding the appointment of the local health officer and deputy health officer. It is recommended by staff to adopt its alternative 1, that the Board of County Commissioners approve Resolution 17-2026, appointing Katrina Lowry as the Finney County Local Health Officer and retaining Anna Alex Titus, APRN, as Deputy Health Director. There is no fiscal impact associated with this action. The appointment fulfills statutory requirements established under KSA 65201 and KSA 65202 for county health officer appointments. And I didn't include those, but I do have both of those statutes with me today, should you wish to review them.
Thank you. Any questions for Katrina? Yes, Commissioner Schultz.
Thank you. Katrina, welcome, number one. Number two is that I'm going to take you off the hot seat and put it over on Derek. And Mr. Administrator, I sent you an inquiry. I really want the public to know and your comments on the service of Nurse Ontiveros and what her role will be in the health department going forward.
So we really appreciate Ms. Ontiveros' service to the county as previously as the local health officer and interim public health director. She's been amazing. She is going back into being a charge nurse, and that's going to be her role. And so we're very excited for her to go back into what she was doing before. And as past practices, the director will be the public health officer, and that aligns with state statute. As long as we have a physician on staff, and I believe it's Dr. Michael D. Jackson is our physician, so.
Thank you, Darren.
Commissioner Jones?
Well, I remember years ago, and we used to appoint these, I didn't think much about it until we got in the throes of COVID.
That makes sense.
Oh, and then all of a sudden, some of our decisions in the past came back and hit us right square in the face. But it was, this is an important office, and guarantee you, hopefully you don't have to confront that again, but I appreciate you stepping up to the plate.
Sure.
Absolutely. Any other comments, gentlemen?
And I do, I mean, to your point, Commissioner Schultz, Dana is phenomenal at what she does, and she has worked very hard over these last several months to not only keep the health department going, but to excel in what they do. She is very much looking forward to getting the hands-on back. She's really missing that. And maybe do some things during some regular hours. She's also covering JDC, and so she has a lot that she does. And so she's not ready to let go of the hands-on nursing stuff. We actually talked about this on Friday, so she is looking forward to that. And that's a work in progress because I am very much still learning. And to your point, Commissioner Jones, it is a very big responsibility. I take it very seriously. And I'm thankful to have Dana on my team, as well as Alex, our nurse practitioner, and Dr. Jackson as our medical officer. He was by last week. Wendy Just, our pharmacist, she's also fantastic. So, I mean, it takes a lot of people to keep this going.
Madam Chair, I move the commission to adopt alternative number 1, approve resolution 17-2026, appointing Katrina Lowry as the Finney County Local Health Officer and retaining Alex Titus, ARPN, as Deputy Health Officer.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do believe that you need to convene as the Board of Health in order to make that appointment.
Very good. All right. We have a motion to that effect.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. And Commissioner Schultz, if you'd like to repeat your motion.
I will. I'll repeat it into the record as stated before. Alternative number 1.
Thank you. And did we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. And I would just like to thank Dana for stepping up to the plate. She does do a lot, and I just always hear great things about her. I've always been pleased with her work. But I know that her love is nursing, and that's what she wants to do, and I appreciate that. So, and thanks to you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you as well.
Break. 10 minutes.
Okay. I believe
We need to come out of
we need to come out of the Board of Public Health. So do we have a,
Second.
take your pick, and all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. And we would like to have a little break before we go any further. Let's take a break until 9:45.
Thank you.
We will reconvene. We're ready for item 6E, Resolution 15, 2026, and FC 2026-06 for Sherlock Solar, special use permit to operate commercial solar energy conversion systems. Good morning, Mackenzie.
Good morning again, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. This morning, the Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider approval of a request for a special use permit to operate commercial solar energy conversion systems in the A Agricultural District for the properties generally located in sections 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Mackenzie, excuse me for just a minute. I just realized, I think we have a member who is recusing for this. Is that correct?
That's correct, Madam Chair. I need to recuse due to conflict.
Okay. So in light of that, we will ask you to leave the room, Mr. Commissioner, and
I'll be, just listen.
All right. That's satisfactory.
is that acceptable, Madam Counsel?
Or I can go sit out there.
Okay, and let the record reflect that Commissioner Larry Jones has recused from this item and that we do still have a quorum present. And Mackenzie, go ahead.
Okay. The Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider approval of a request for a special use permit to operate commercial solar energy conversion systems in the A Agricultural District for the properties generally located in sections 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 of Township 25 South, Range 34 West in Finney County, Kansas. The applicant, Sherlock Solar LLC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Triple Oak Power LLC, on behalf of the respective property owners, has applied for a special use permit, SUP, to operate commercial solar energy conversion systems, also referenced as C6, in the A Agricultural District as outlined in Article 36 of the Finney County zoning regulations for the properties generally located in sections 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 of Township 25 South, Range 34 West. The Sherlock Solar Project is part of a larger initiative, the Home Range Clean Power Project, proposed to occupy portions of Finney, Wichita, and Kearney counties. The Home Range Clean Power Project is planned to include the following major land use components: C6, Battery Energy Storage Systems, BESS, Digital Infrastructure Campus, DIC, Natural Gas Generation, NGES, Wind Generation, and Substation, Switchyard, and Transmission Line Development. The Sherlock Solar Project is proposed to be a 400 megawatt alternating current C6 project. The proposed project area is approximately 6,150 acres. If approved, the SUP will be applied strictly to the land area described in Appendix C of the applicant's submittal. All the properties located within the proposed project area are zoned A agricultural and are currently used for agricultural purposes. The major components of the project will include solar arrays and ancillary facilities, including the following: tracker systems, a collector substation, inverters, an overhead transmission line, access roads, a detention basin, security fencing, and an on-site supervisory control and data acquisition system. If the SUP is approved, the applicant anticipates the project's construction to commence in the spring of 2027 and estimates it'll take approximately 24 months to complete. The typical project life for a C6 project is approximately 40 years. The applicant has submitted preliminary information about decommissioning and restoration, which is in Appendix G of their submittal, and will be required to submit a final decommissioning and restoration plan with the decommissioning agreement. Before the construction of the project can begin, the applicant must meet the following requirements. 1, submit an official site and building plans following the requirements of the Finney County zoning regulations, subdivision regulations, SUP application form, and C6 application form. 2, receive plan approval after completing the plan review process, and receive an approved building permit. Number 3, enter into agreements with the county pursuant to the SUP application form, including a development agreement, decommissioning agreement, road use and maintenance agreement, and community benefit agreement. The applicant submitted an amendment to their application on April 15th of 2026 to reduce the total size of the project boundary, and that is seen in the SUP addendum attachment. The applicant has the right and ability to shrink the SUP boundary at any time, but cannot expand the project without proper notice. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the SUP on April 16th of 2026, and an excerpt of the meeting minutes are attached. The Board of County Commissioners may make its recommendation and state its finding in accordance with the criteria outlined in section 36.050 of the Finney County zoning regulations. And below is a complete list of the criteria. And I'll go through each of those. 36.050 special use permit evaluation criteria. In reviewing and making decisions on proposed special use permits, the Planning Commission and governing body shall give consideration to the following evaluation criteria factors to the extent relevant. Number 1, whether the proposed use complies with all applicable provisions of these regulations. Number 2, whether the proposed use is compatible with the zoning land uses of nearby properties in terms of scale, site design, and operating characteristics, including hours of operation, traffic generation, lighting, noise, odor, dust, and other external impact. Number 3, whether the proposed use is compatible with the character of the area. Number 4, suitability of the subject property for the uses to which it has been restricted for the uses which are proposed. Number 5, whether the use will cause significant adverse impacts on the natural environment. Number 6, whether the use will have significant adverse impacts on community facilities and transportation network or utilities in the area. Number 7, whether the use is in conformance with the comprehensive plan or adopted plans for the area. 8, whether it is appropriate to limit the period of time the proposed use will be allowed, and if so, what that time period should be. 9, conservation of property values. Number 10, protection against fire and casualties. Number 11, observation of general police regulations. Number 12, prevention of traffic congestion. 13, promotion of traffic safety and orderly parking of motor vehicles. 14, promotion of the safety of individuals and property. 15, provision for adequate light and air. 16, prevention of overcrowding and excessive intensity of land uses. Number 17, provision of public utilities in schools. Number 18, invasion by inappropriate uses. Number 19, value, type, and character of the existing or authorized improvements and land uses. Number 20, encouragement of improvements and land uses in keeping with overall planning. Number 21, provisions for orderly and proper urban renewal, development, and growth. Number 22, length of time subject property has remained vacant as zoned. Sorry. Number 23, relative gain to the public health, safety, and welfare as compared to the loss in value or hardship imposed upon the applicant. Number 24, opposition or support of neighborhood residents. Number 25, impacts of the proposed development on community facilities. Number 26, professional staff recommendation. And number 27, such other factors and criteria that the governing body may deem relevant. The following is staff's analysis of the SUP evaluation criteria as listed in section 36.050 of the Finney County zoning regulations. I apologize, I got my pages mixed up. So following the Planning Commission public hearing, staff has adjusted some of the staff analysis that was presenting before the Planning Commission to reflect some of the concerns that were brought up during the public hearing. So I'm going to go over some of those specific criteria. I'm not going to go over each of the items in the staff analysis, but we wanted to make sure that you were aware of these two items. So the first was criteria number 5, and that's whether the use will cause significant adverse impacts on the natural environment. There have been concerns that due to the nature of the sandhills, C6 projects will cause significant adverse impacts to the natural environment, and land within the project area is currently used for irrigated crops. The applicant will be required to detail their vegetation plan through the site plan and permitting process. The Finney County Economic Development Corporation has been working with specialists to develop a prairie native grass planting protocol for C6 projects to utilize for development within the sandhills. The applicant is required to provide documentation of all required permits and comply with all local, state, and federal laws and regulations. And then the other item is criteria number 24, which is opposition or support of neighborhood residents. In compliance with the requirements of the base SUP application form, the applicant has provided information detailing the project's neighborhood and community outreach, which is in Appendix M of their submittal. There have been concerns that due to the nature of the sandhills, C6 projects will cause significant adverse impacts to the natural environment. The land within the project area is currently used for irrigated crops. Residents are concerned that removing this ground from agricultural production will lead to significant erosion and increased blowing dust. To mitigate these issues, the applicant will be required to detail their vegetation plan through the site plan and permitting process. The Finney County Economic Development Corporation has been working with specialists to develop a prairie native grass planting protocol for C6 projects to utilize for development within the sandhills. And also to add to this, the applicant also held an informational open house on May 19th to provide additional information to the community on all of their projects as within this whole home range clean power project. So there are 2 alternatives before you this morning. The first, the Board of County Commissioners may approve the SUP to Sherlock Solar LLC to operate C6 by adopting Resolution 15-2026. Or 2, the Board of County Commissioners may not approve the SUP to Sherlock Solar LLC to operate C6. Staff recommends alternative 1. The Board of County Commissioners approve the SUP to Sherlock Solar LLC to operate C6 by adopting Resolution 15-2026. And there is no fiscal impact with this step of the process. Now, I am available for any questions, and I believe that the applicant has prepared a presentation for you.
Any questions for Mackenzie before we hear from the applicant? All right, and who would like to speak? Okay, come on up and announce your name for us, please.
Board Chair and members of the Commission, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Jesse Groner. I'm CEO and co-founder of Triple Oak Power, the applicant behind Sherlock Solar, as well as Sherlock Energy Storage, which we'll discuss next. So we prepared a few slides here to go through the who we are and what this project is. And this is a condensed version of what we presented at Planning Commission a few weeks ago, which I believe you also have that available.
Jesse, feel free to adjust that microphone.
Okay, so I don't have to
Lean over.
go down. All right, hopefully you can hear me okay? Great. So quickly, Triple Oak Power, again, I introduced myself. We've got members of our team here that may step up and answer certain questions you may have. So in particular, Chris Baker, Senior Director of Engineering, all things technical. We have Jesse Bermel and Robert Olson, who you see in the community quite often. They're our development team that's here oftentimes. And then we have Sean Collins somewhere in the room that's on our team as our community liaisons. Sean staffs our office here in downtown Garden City. And as you probably know, is a member of your community for many generations. Who's Triple Oak? So Triple Oak, again, I founded the company with our CFO a little over 5 years ago. And we have a mission to develop sustainable energy plants. It's very to the point. I myself have been in the development of power generation for my entire career, which is almost 25 years. I've seen the right way to develop projects. I've seen where developers don't follow through. And to me, it's really important as fundamentally a development company doing the type of work we do to do things the right way. And I've instilled that in our business, and I've recruited our team, and they know every day how important it is to us what sustainability is, which to me is not just an environmental term. It's about, an economic sustainability for a community. It's about a legacy for agricultural properties to survive in the ups and downs that come from farming. So a lot goes into the word sustainability. As I mentioned to the Planning Commission, I appreciate Finney County includes the word sustainability in a number of ways in your code. And I do think it's from that perspective of making lasting impacts in a positive way to follow through on future generations. And that's the way I think about things. So quickly about Home Range Clean Power. So Home Range Clean Power is Triple Oaks multi-project activity here in this part of southwestern Kansas. So we have a number of projects being proposed both here in Finney as well as we have an active application going in Kearney County right now. We're here specifically to speak about Sherlock Solar and Sherlock Energy Storage. So that's the topic of today. But given the need to be transparent and the desire for us to give the community the full picture of what we're thinking about from the very get-go, there's really 5 elements to this project of Home Range Clean Power, 4 of them being power generation, and 1 of them being what's considered load, or the use of power for a plant that makes things, right? So the top 4 here: solar, energy storage, home range wind, is the wind portion of our project. Again, right now there's a proposal in Kearney County that we're working with them on. Sherlock Generation is a natural gas peaking plant that we do intend to apply for here in Finney County in the relative near term. And Acorn Power Properties is the applicant that we have active with Sunflower Electric and Wheatland regarding the load side here. All 5 of these LLCs are 100% subsidiaries of Triple Oak Power, okay? So very quickly on the solar and the BESS, and I'll refer to BESS by its acronym, Battery Energy Storage System. So Sherlock Solar is a 400 megawatt plant. That's an AC, alternating current amount of generation. We've defined just over 6,000 acres where the solar may go. We would not occupy 6,000 acres for a 400 megawatt plant. So our site plan incorporates a broader area than where the 400 megawatts would ultimately go. I think everybody's familiar with what ground mountain solar looks like, but we have a picture of that. The entirety of the solar array would be fenced. On the BESS side, and again, I'll present on both here. I know the docket is open right now on solar, and then we'll have a subsequent on BESS, but I won't plan to present again on the BESS unless there's questions specific to BESS. So the BESS side, we have approximately a 54-acre area. Again, 400 megawatts of energy storage. In battery terms, you deal with the megawatts as well as duration. So we have contemplated a 4-hour battery here. Lithium ion or something similar is state-of-the-art in our industry. And again, the battery energy storage area would also be fenced. And then lastly, the ancillary facilities or substations and the things that basically take the energy, collect them, and get them connected to the grid. And there's likely to be a short transmission line that connects our power to the interconnection at and around the Holcomb station. So that is our planned interconnection. We have multiple interconnection applications going with both Sunflower Electric as well as the Southwest Power Pool that operates the grid in this area. Here's the general location of our project. Again, just west-southwest of the Holcomb coal plant. And we do see the value of this location for its proximity to existing infrastructure. With the plant there and a number of substations and transmission lines, we see this as an ideal location for this type of power generation expansion. And then if you can go one more, this is a bit more of the detail, and I know it's hard to read the legend, but this is all in the permit application. And this shows within that property area where the solar is currently contemplated, where the battery energy is currently contemplated, and how we would collect in that upper northeast corner of the electrical stuff that gets connected at substation switch yards and ultimately heads east over to the Holcomb plant to connect to the bulk grid. These facilities are all as currently proposed, but subject to modifications. One key thing that we made clear with the Planning Commission is that This is for the land use, the special use permit itself. We have many obligations to come back as we further refine our design and have a lot more specificity to make sure ultimately where things would be built. There's a lot more detail that goes behind that. And we look forward to working with the county and staff and the building department to make sure that we meet all those requirements. Another thing to point out is we are not intending to turn dirt tomorrow after this permit application. We have a lot of work that follows here, a lot of details that would lead up to, as was reported, at the earliest late spring of next year when physical construction could begin. We wanted to highlight, again, we didn't go through all the stuff we talked about with Planning Commission here. We did want to hit again the revegetation issue, and I do think this, on the one hand, underscores why I think this process works really well. We appreciate all the work that Finney County has put into the special use permit process itself to establish criteria by which an applicant such as us can come in and apply, and also the iterative nature of how feedback loops work. And so we absolutely appreciate y'all have a very unique geography here. You have a unique soil situation. You have unique environment in which we need to make sure the way we're designing our project is most cohesive with that environment. And we appreciate the feedback we've gotten thus far around the soil issue, the sand hills, the risk of taking irrigated agriculture out of production and what that may do to the landscape after doing so. We, of course, have a vested interest in the case of solar to make sure that blowing sands don't impact the generation that comes from the sun. And there is a significant reduction that happens in solar generation based on soiling, or AKA the dust blowing on panels and reducing the output. So there's already a business need and a commercial need to make sure that doesn't happen. But more importantly, we need to make sure our neighbors and the general area is not facing some new significant impact of blowing dust that wasn't there before. We've bore witness to some areas that have, that have not been appropriately revegetated, and we see the outcome of that. Again, these are the sort of things where the more we could know hyper-local concerns, the more we can address them early. And thankfully, we're early enough in this process to be able to tackle this issue. We're tackling it head on. We don't have all the answers yet, but as noted here, we are consulting with local experts, like local, to make sure we understand exactly this issue, what seed mixes do work versus what don't. We're going to make sure that at the end of the day, the revegetation of this works. You don't have to take my word right now. We're going to owe a lot more plans, a lot more details after we work with local expertise and academics to make sure that in fact is the case. And I will say in the last month or so that this issue's really been made clear to us. We've had some great meetings in the field with some folks, and I'm encouraged that there's a way to do this that's going to be successful. And we're going to make sure that gets baked into the detailed plans that we bring forth after the land use process closes. And that's really it. So happy to take questions now, happy to bring up members of the team to answer questions, really here to make sure you have all the answers you need for today's matter. Thank you.
Thank you. And are there any questions?
I don't have a question per se right now. In preparation for this application, I had discovered that there was a solar project over in Dodge City south of their cheese plant over there. So I drove over one day because I had several people who had expressed concerns about vegetation of a project like this or revegetation. And so I drove over there and discovered that their solar project was in a similar type of ground situation, sand hills, because it was south of their river, and it was obviously there was farm ground around, but there was also sand hills very similar to where this project's supposed to go. So I took pictures and video because I was concerned about what their vegetation process looked like at that plant. And I went all around it and was actually fairly surprised and impressed with their vegetation that they had. And I was there on a fairly windy day, and I didn't observe any blowing dirt or sand or anything like that. And quite a bit of vegetation between the panels and the rows and everything. So So my observation is that a project like this can be revegetated and keep that kind of stuff down. So that did help me a little bit going over there and actually observing, a power plant like that. And my second concern has always been, the water concerns. And because I've lived here my entire life and I plan on dying here, and I know that without water or the availability of water, then, my house and my son's house and my granddaughter and everybody and my sisters that live here, then it's not going to be anything if we don't have future availability of water. And so one of the things that I'm interested in is the possibility of taking water out of the equation, out of use, and perhaps protecting, saving, or even adding to our aquifers so that we have some water availability to us far in the future, even past the time that I live, for my family and everything. So, I don't know if you or if Lana can explain to the people watching about that potential water that's going to be taken out of the equation, and whatever amount of water that you may not even know at this time based off of your vegetation plan, how much of the water you're taking out of the equation, and then how much water that you might be using in regrowing the vegetation.
So thank you for the anecdote about the other solar plant. That's helpful to hear. And then on the water question, if you don't mind, if you could flip back to the first map that we have there. Thank you. Yeah, so with respect to that property in particular, we've worked with the property owners on those parcels on acquiring not just the surface, but also the irrigation water. And it is absolutely our intent to come out of this process for the full suite of activities related to home range clean power, that there will be a net benefit, right? We're also very careful to not drop numbers yet that we don't have fully accounted for. And so I'm comfortable referring to that net benefit, but right now we want to make sure our calculations are accurate. I think as everybody in this community is either understands on its face or is coming to understand more now because of water shortages and some constraints being applied on the Ogallala, these pivot irrigations, they use a lot of water. They do. And so the use is one volume. The legal right to that water is another higher value. All of these things bake together, right, to make sure at the end of the day what we put forth demonstrates, for the avoidance of any doubt, that there's going to be a net benefit, but we have to make sure all the numbers are right and the calculations are right. And I know folks want information as soon as possible, and as we committed to in the open house that was referenced to, especially with the digital infrastructure campus, right? Which again, Acorn Power Properties, our company is an applicant to do things that where we will be coming forth eventually with that application and all the details. There's a lot of anxiety to see that information, and we just don't want to report numbers that are off. Right. So, but we are working very, very specifically to make sure, even at the rolled up higher than we expect numbers, just to start there and then be able to demonstrate that in fact it should come in lower. So definitely taking water as a serious concern. Definitely know people want to know numbers, and I commit that we will provide numbers as soon as we have them.
And I understand that we're very early into the process for those kind of numbers, and I look forward at a later time as the plans develop and those numbers become maybe a little bit more knowledgeable, but also provide our community with numbers about the potential economic impact for the construction side of everything, and then eventually some potential, I don't know if I want to use the word tax, but some type of revenue source to our taxpayers as well. So a lot of that stuff, I believe, will come down the road, and those that maybe have some opposition, or maybe those that maybe don't know exactly what's going to be going on, once they see those, there may be a sway or a change in their opinions about these projects.
Absolutely, and community benefit is an output of projects like this, but it's proof is in the pudding when we're able to really iron all that out and present publicly, this is what can be expected. And it is meaningful, it is lasting, it is sustainable revenue for the county to plan around. But again, the environmental impact, the impact to the neighborhood, all of that is the offset. So cost benefit, absolutely the benefits need to outweigh. And we look forward to getting into those details on the other side of this and really getting into a proposal that's going to be very exciting for this community that we're very excited to partner on.
At this time, I'd like to ask Lana Duvall to come up and speak on behalf of Finney County. And I know that you can address a lot of the concerns that we have been hearing from the public regarding environment, noise, water, all of that.
Good morning, Lana Duvall, Finney County Economic Development Corporation. I think for the purposes of the solar and the battery energy storage system projects that you are considering this morning, what's really important to note is that we have put a process in place that allows experts to weigh in the specific concerns, again, because of the ecological makeup of the area that we're looking at for this project. We judged it was really important to have experts at the table for that. And I think for some people, when they hear the word expert, they think that means they have to be from at least 50 miles away. We would argue with that for a lot of reasons. Number one, I think all of you were able to go back and watch Mark Sexton's presentation at the Finney County Economic Development Board meeting in April. And if you paid attention to that, it was a really great presentation. But if you paid attention to that, he spoke specifically about the change in the prairie when we traveled just even a tiny bit east of here. Excuse me. So the prairie as it exists in Finney County is different than the prairie. It may look very similar, but it is indeed different as we continue to go east and further away from the Rocky Mountains. And what he had found over his 15 years of research on how to restore prairie land was that it was a very particular seed mix. It was a very particular protocol for utilizing that seed mix, so ensuring that it's planted at the right time and that it is then managed once it actually emerges and all of the things that go into that. We feel it's extremely important to make sure that he's at the table and these other folks, again, who have operated within Finney County and within this specific region in Finney County. It's going to be really important that they're at the table. We also are including on that vegetation planning and land stewardship committee that will provide full detailed reports to you all as these projects move along and actually move towards construction. That committee will also include folks from Kansas State, from their research and extension group. I think it's really important to note that because of all of Mark's work, Mark Sexton's work on this, K-State does have now a grant that they were able to secure to allow them to get the formal documentation related to the protocol that Mr. Sexton has developed. So his 15 years of hard work and passion will not have gone to waste. They will be documented in published research, which is very important for the future of projects out here. So that committee will have, again, we'll also have water representatives on that committee because we do fully anticipate that we will be required to use some of the water rights that exist there in establishing that vegetation. But as Mr. Sexton said, once it's established, this is what was native here. This is what was growing there before we ever broke it into farm ground. So the goal is to get it reestablished and then allow nature to take its course by utilizing the correct deep-rooted vegetation. Secondly, I will speak just a little bit to the water. There is a separate committee that will have all of the water experts tied to it. And to your question, Commissioner Basque, there will be, once we know, if you all just heard Jesse say, the battery energy storage we think is this many acres and generally located here, solar, this many acres generally located here. Once we know for sure where those projects are located on the site plan, as again, they develop their process more, the water committee, the sustainability aquifer committee will get together, look at how much water is currently being used in those footprints, determine how much of that water may need to be held to reestablish vegetation, and then be able to provide a report to you all where you will be able to see this is how much water is currently being used, this is how much water is anticipated to be used, and this is the net savings to you. They will be working hand in hand with these project developers to ensure that the plans that come before you are designed to get the maximum benefit for our aquifer, for our community members, for the neighbors in that area, and obviously to give the project the best chance of success as we move forward with those projects. Happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Lana, I think it would be important to let folks know that there are many aspects. That's why we put this SUP in place. Things such as they're going to be required to have a sound study, traffic impact study, a lot of requirements that we have in place that will need to happen, and I don't expect you to enumerate all of them, but there are many pieces to this that will need to happen, and all these studies will need to be reviewed, including economic impact, as Commissioner Basque stated, before we approve any, further agreements further along this project onto the next step of a development agreement, and then eventually a building permit. But we have a lot of these things in place. I just wanted that to be in the record for the public. Do you have anything additionally to add?
Yes, I would just say that, when we first started getting requests to look at these types of projects, there were different routes that we could have taken as a community to move these projects through the process. And without the special use permit process, projects could have applied for just the traditional conditional use permit, which is a completely different process and goes through the Board of Zoning Appeals. Excuse me. But that is a single public meeting, and they're not regularly scheduled. The Board of Zoning Appeals meets as needed to take on projects. We felt that these projects were going to be significant enough and were going to create enough benefit for this community that we really believed that they should be a more public process. So we spent months working with legal counsel and with engineers, the planning team at the county, and put together this process that goes through the Planning Commission instead of just the one meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals. And we did that, again, to be more transparent, to allow the community more opportunity to see what we're looking at with these projects. We've been really blessed in this community with some really tremendous projects over the years. And I think part of what makes us feel good from the economic development standpoint, and I think on behalf of all of our member entities, the county, both the incorporated cities and the community college, part of what makes it so rewarding for our community is that when we talk to members of the public, they say our milk plant and our empirical plant and our transload facility. And that's really important to us. The work we do on behalf of the folks who live here today and the many generations of folks who will come after us. And we are fortunate in this county that we get to do it on the shoulders of the folks who came before us and really had a forward-thinking, progressive mindset and wanted to set Finney County and our region apart from other places. So when we looked to do this process, we wanted to make sure it got as much public input and saw as much light, if you will, as it could. So to your point, Commission Chairman, we spent a lot of time working on a process that is far more difficult for staff, is far more difficult for legal counsel, is far more difficult for the Economic Development Office, that we feel in the end allows for the maximum public exposure and the maximum opportunity for our ability to hold these projects accountable to a standard that we have. And we have gotten tremendous feedback from across the state, and I've had calls even from out of state from folks who say, can you come help us do a process like this in our community? Because we do think there could be advantages, but we don't have a process in place that really allows the public to weigh in. So you all should be very proud of the work, the energy, and quite honestly, the accountability that you've put in place as a result of this process.
Thank you, Lana. And,
Madam Chair?
yes,
As
Commissioner.
we hear
Jones.
back from the Triple Oak representative, I have a few things that I think would help summarize for everyone. Sir, thanks for addressing my concerns, Madam Chair. A PowerPoint person, could you go to page 208 of our agenda? It's page 4 of the proposed SUP. And many people don't understand that today's hearing is about considering the proposed SUP as submitted by staff and your company. But this paragraph 2 is the terms before initial construction is allowed to commence. And I want to be clear for the public that you understand nobody's given you the right to construct anything.
Yes, sir.
And it's really important for the viewing public to go down through this list of things that you have to do under this SUP. I got a hot mic. Before a building permit is going to be granted. Now, item C is the vegetation and land stewardship plan that you addressed in your presentation. But I think the important one also is an erosion plan under paragraph D. And it should be known that the erosion and sediment control plan is one that's going to have to be finished before construction permits, correct?
Yes, sir.
And also on that control plan is that if you have soil erosion and invasion onto a neighboring property, both during and after construction, all remediation costs will be borne by you and satisfactory payable to the landowner. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, and the details to be worked out in that plan.
Very good. The community benefit plan is a payment of resources and revenue to the county and other taxing entities as agreed during the period of time when you may be otherwise exempt from making any payment. So in other words, I'm not going to call it a payment in lieu of taxes, but it's going to be a community benefit agreement for the citizens of Finney County. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir, and we want that to be as positively impactful as possible.
Then if you look down on page 210 to item F, that has to occur. The operation and maintenance plan is how we're going to be able to affect and save our land. And you are required to provide any other information that the administrator or the commission deems appropriate. Have you agreed to that part of this proposed SUP?
As to the conditions of approval, that yes, we understand that to be a condition of approval.
Many people in the community have been concerned, especially since we're going to cover both of them and maybe not address that. The emergency readiness plan will include what you're going to need for equipment in order to have emergency preparedness in the event that you have a problem out there, that we have addressed what we need in order to fight fire and the battery issue. And what do you think that emergency readiness plan should mean for the community members?
Well, if it's all right, I might let member of my team speak a little bit to that in the battery portion of the project here.
That'd be great.
Because I think, and give him a moment to prepare his thoughts. But I'll say more generally, again, we've been in touch with local emergency response from day one. It's part of our general community outreach to begin with, both emergency response, fire. We know, as with every rural county, there's always needs, especially the more we get outside Garden City here, and we get into more of the rural part of the county. And first and foremost, we want to enhance and reinforce what you already have, just to deal with the stuff you're already dealing with. And it's always great to hear earlier in the agenda some of those activities and the budget you have to put toward it. And, you know, it's county business, right? Then on top of that, the impact and additional resource of a project like ours, we have to make sure we go above and beyond to first have people trained, but also have the resources and within the facility, protection schemes that'll make sure these things can operate safely. I'll again, speak from a business perspective. It's absolutely in our commercial interest to make sure the investment is not damaged by fill in the blank any problems we may have. So for all those reasons, absolutely, we want to and will support local fire, local emergency response.
Okay, do you need to make a presentation, or can we go on?
We can go on.
All right, very good. I
Did you,
think you handled it.
well, did you want your team member, did you have a few?
I guess the question procedurally is if we're going to do battery energy storage next, we can do that here.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Additional conditions before any construction begins is a road use and maintenance agreement. We have a paved road there. The north road is Chris Road. You're going to have to detail a road use and maintenance agreement with us before any permit, right?
Absolutely.
A sound study, maybe not so much on solar units, but that sound study has to be done, and one with solar units is a glare report. Can you explain to the viewing audience what a glare report is?
Well, so sound study, glare reports, these are, scientific calculations that can be made on quantifiable impacts on both sound as well as the visual impact of a glare. So glare being with photovoltaic panels, right? When the sun is at a certain part, certain angle throughout the day, there can be a glare effect. And so, again, all that being quantifiable and able to produce in a report so it's understood, from viewing areas when to expect certain things. And we do factor that into the ultimate engineering.
Very good. I've spent 42 years helping people getting into agreements, but I've also spent that same 42 years making sure there's a way to get out of them. How would you describe to the taxpayers in Finney County what you see in the decommissioning agreement and financial requirements under paragraphs N and O of the proposed SUP?
If you don't mind scrolling down there, just so I can make sure I'm referring to the right link.
12 and 213.
Okay. So first off, I'll go back to the business case here. This is a material investment. So all of these items that you're referring to that have to be delivered prior to start of construction, from an investor perspective, certainty is really important as to what the rules of the road are. So it's also, from a business perspective, really important that all of these plans are not only submitted, but approved and understood in black and white, so that when the investment is made, we know not just construction, but the full operation and ultimate decommissioning. And there's no uncertainties and open-ended items, right, that the investor may be exposed on. So we're already aligned with the county and the county that the represents around assurance, right? So when it comes to decommissioning, it is crystal clear. We have an obligation to restore property the way we found it, down to certain depths, which includes removal of facilities, even below grade. The question of what, and that's an obligation we have as either owner of the property ourselves, or in the case where we lease as the lessee of the property. And then on top of that, we'll have the permit conditions that are established here. When it comes to the financial assurance of doing that, again, this material significant investment, day one, after you build a facility, it's not worth $0 day one. So we as an industry, I'll broaden it, certainly across the state of Kansas, there's a lot of precedent in the many states that have seen renewable energy built. There's generally an understanding that the risk of decommissioning really increases over time, right? Which is natural for any equipment, that over time there's more likelihood it's going to stop working, right? So generally speaking, there's some period of time where the obligation is understood. It's a contractual, obligation on the property. It's also a permitting compliance matter. As to financial assurance, typically that kicks in some years after the plant is built, and usually more at a point where, in a very safe way, the risk might be there that the value of the equipment itself, right, doesn't exceed the cost to remove it. And so we generally approach decommissioning from that perspective. But bottom line, it is our responsibility as the operator of the plant to restore and remove the equipment. So if I didn't answer your question, happy to have follow-up.
You did, and I like to put it in language that most voters can understand, is that this supplemental use permit is going to require you to clean up after yourself.
Yes, sir.
But that's 40 years from now, hopefully, and this chair will be empty of this person then. And the financial assistance requirements require a 5-year review. Do you understand that?
I do.
And I think that is important for people to understand, that that financial review means that your company can't assign this SUP to somebody else without meeting the requirements of the initial SUP, which includes on Appendix 2 that whoever you're going to assign it to meets all the qualifications up front and agrees to all the things that were done before you got a building permit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you can't assign this to some hollow shell LLC and leave all the taxpayers and adjoining landowners holding the bag.
That's correct, sir.
Finally, we think, at least from the folks who have talked to me that are both for and against the project, that it's critically important for them to understand that the land use decision now gives you the opportunity to enter into the 6-7 agreements that we need to have in order for you to get a building permit. And those are going to take some time, but it's a short period of time. And I would like to hear your comments as those agreements are being developed and ready for commission approval, that we have a timeline so that we have transparency to the public, so they understand what those agreements are. And what is your position on that transparency?
Well, I 100% support the transparency for the public to understand what follow-on plans are going to be developed, what follow-on agreements, and basically to ensure the compliance of the principles that are in your code now and the approach to the special use permit. I'll also, beyond time, there's cost, and for us, this is a key milestone. The special use permit land use process creates the framework and if anything, creates the boundaries within which we need to paint the picture of what we want to build so that we can get that go-ahead. All of that costs money and investment. And so for myself that sits on our board dealing with our investors quite often, this is the step along the way where we have solid footing to make those detailed investments so that we can produce those plans and have the detailed engineering and have all the detailed numbers. So it's a very important milestone for us today, but we understand we're not to the end game yet, and we still have more to do before we have the right to go build something. Yes.
Madam Chairman, I have a few remarks, not questions, and if you're ready for any other input.
Yes.
Folks, there's 3 things about these major projects that taxpayers and all of us in the room should carefully consider. First is, are we making a benefit to our community and the industry that we have, and are we adding to it its diversity and strength? I think we've seen that. 2 is government making the required things to be done in an open and fair way so that landowners receive the benefit of their land, that capitalism works in our community, and that we have the potential to have economic growth, tax revenue, and be able to have the opportunity in the future to hold the line on the rate that taxes are assessed and made. And third, and most importantly, have we as a government required the company to be a good steward of this land? That they know how they're going to come in and how they're going to use it, how they're going to pay for the cost of using it, and then at the end, how are they going to clean up beside themselves and restore this ground? And with their agreement to the SUP that's been proposed, it's my pleasure to make a motion to approve the SUP as proposed. And I'll make it correct as to the specifics. Yeah, I'm getting to it. For the Sherlock Solar Finney County Proposed Resolution 2026 day. This is a great day for Finney County, and I think that the people of Finney County should be pleased with the process that's been employed.
We have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I would second it.
I think we need to clarify the resolution number, please. 'Cause it should be 15-2026.
Oh,
I'm not sure where 2607 came from.
I was just reading off my notes.
Okay, so you are,
Council, what is the number?
15-2026.
All right, that's my motion. Second?
Second.
any other comments?
I would.
Yes, Commissioner.
I've been
Hughes.
kind of quiet on this. Our attorney commissioner there did a very good job, and I appreciate his comments and his forethought. I really don't have much more to add other than, there's been several oppositions and there's been several in support of the project. There's been comments made about land use, that agriculture's very important for our area. But over the years, if you look at the growth of Finney County, Garden City, Holcomb, there's been several pieces of parcel that has been moved to residential, to commercial, from the Menards and that entire complex to the Walmart neighborhood store, to the land east of the Walmart. They've all been moved for growth of this community. And as Commissioner Schultz said months ago, we're open for business and we need to stay focused on that. The question I have, Jesse, if you can answer this, is there's thoughts, and we have not seen any proposals on a data center. And that is, if a data center does not come to fruition, are you still open for business and moving forward?
Well, I'll answer your question by telling a quick background story of how we got here with Home Range Wind in the first place. So we started proposing again, I'm a power plant developer at the end of the day, so we started by proposing a wind farm about 5 years ago, got the project going. The world around us, again, I appreciate the reference to capitalism. There's a market demand here that pulls for this stuff, and we're supplying to that market. If you think about over the last 5 years, power generation and the consumption of power through data centers and other advanced loads, as they're referred to, has significantly increased. And really for us, as we were trying to get a traditional standalone wind farm going in this area, quite frankly, there's not enough energy consumption in the area to scale the sort of project that we were considering. So at the same time that this market demand was increasing, of looking at plants that are more the consumption of power, the loads, we saw an opportunity to both enhance all the above sort of generation technologies that this area has the benefit of from a resource perspective, not just wind, which I've watched the wind pick up as we've sat in this room, the solar resource, the access to natural gas infrastructure, and certainly the access to electrical infrastructure. This is a really key project for our company, for our investor. We see this right smack dab in the middle of the United States, and I'm genuinely excited about what we can do in Finney County and surrounding areas. And it can be big and it can be sustainable. So with all that as background, I'm trying to remember your question on data center. Would we build the plant without a data center? Quite frankly, the way the power grid works, right? The traditional build a power plant far away to where the load consumption is. You use transmission lines to transmit it. That's been for the last 100 years the way central station power plants have been built. As we've been developing wind farms the last 25 years and solar plants, again, generally speaking, it's always, can you get closer to the load, the consumption, right? I would say until and if this area grows its load profile, meaning electricity consumption, these resources of ways to power, to create power, right, will have to get transmitted to faraway places. And that's where transmission constraints and limitations come in. So to the heart of your matter, we would not be able to develop the scale of what we're contemplating here for the full suite of home range clean power without some load increase to the scale of what we're considering. Now, is that a data center in today's market terms? Yes. Could that be some other type of manufacturing plant that uses electricity to power itself in a big way? Absolutely. For us as power plant developers, we're really seeing the opportunity to co-locate our load with our power plant so we're not constrained by transmission lines. And it's much more symbiotic as to how you produce and consume. So right now in the United States of America today, and in a global marketplace as it is, data centers are the demand. And data centers are looking at locations such as this, where they can have certainty of power, they can have quality of power, they can have relatively clean elements of that power, and they can find communities that really are open for business. And I think that's why we're excited about proposing what we're doing here.
So I appreciate that response. And also, I do appreciate you working with Kansas Wildlife and Parks. There's been a lot of questions there, so I do appreciate that. And then going back to one of the testimonies today from Therese Hartnett, I'm going to put on my military uniform, my law enforcement uniform, my intelligence sharing hat. There was a question in here about components, where are they coming from? I.e., are they coming from China or other adversary countries from any of your components?
Well, again, details on that will be known as we get further down the process and procure our stuff. There's a number of motivating factors, incentives to not use equipment from foreign entities of concern, right? That does factor into our industry and therefore our company's procurement planning over those things. So there's a lot of safeguards and transparency around making sure that where our stuff comes from is from safe places and it's deployed safely. Let's be honest, our economy is fed by lots of parts of the world right now. We understand the hyper scrutiny, especially on the electric sector, of energy security, et cetera. I mean, you invoke the China comment. A lot of what's driving the United States' desire, right, to do things like we're doing is for energy security purposes, to use our resources to power ourselves and use those resources to then stay ahead of global competitors, right? So I would say this is exactly the sort of investment that, as I understand it, the country's prioritizing right now. Yeah.
Thank you for your response. That's all I have.
Okay, very good. Any other comments? And we do have a motion and a second. I'd like to take a roll call vote on this one. So we'll start with Commissioner Schultz
Yes.
and Commissioner Basque,
Yes.
Commissioner Ute, and a yes from Commissioner Gurman, and that motion carries. Thank you. Do I need to read the resolution?
It's rather lengthy.
Madam Chair, we will need for each of the commissioners to state, based off of the criteria, the 27 criteria, why you did decide to vote the way that you did, for the record.
All right, I'll restate another motion that my motion and the approval of this commission was based on the 27 criteria set forth in the zoning regulations adopted by this commission.
Any other comments?
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Schultz, your vote.
Yes.
And Commissioner Basque.
Yes.
And Commissioner Utes.
Yes.
And my vote is a yes. So, thanks, McKinsey. I almost gave you a new name, Kaminsey. And we are ready for the next item on the agenda, which is, or Commissioners, would you like a break before we start the next? No? Okay. We're ready for 6F, Resolution 16-2026, FC 2026-07.
Okay. Again, Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. This morning, the Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider approval of a request for a special use permit to operate battery energy storage systems in the A Agricultural District for the properties generally located in sections 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 of Township 25 South, Range 34 West in Finney County, Kansas. The applicant Sherlock Energy Storage, LLC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Triple Oak Power, LLC, on behalf of the respective property owners, has applied for a special use permit, SUP, to operate battery energy storage systems, also referred to as BESS, in the A Agricultural District, as outlined in Article 36 of the Finney County Zoning Regulations, for the properties generally located in sections 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 of Township 25 South, Range 34 West in Finney County, Kansas. The Sherlock BESS project is part of a larger initiative, the Home Range Clean Power Project, proposed to occupy portions of Finney, Wichita, and Kearney counties. The Home Range Clean Power Project is planned to include the following major land use components: commercial solar energy conversion systems, battery energy storage systems, digital infrastructure campus, natural gas generation, wind generation, and substation switchyard and transmission line development. The Sherlock BESS project is proposed to be a 400 megawatt, 4-hour electric power storage system to be integrated with the Sherlock Solar project. The proposed project area is approximately 54 acres. If approved, the SUP will be applied strictly to the land area described in Appendix C of the applicant's submittal. All of the properties located within the proposed project area is zoned A Agricultural District and is currently used for agricultural purposes. The major components of the project will include individual lithium-ion batteries, multiple self-contained storage containers to store the batteries, and ancillary facilities including the following: a collector substation, thermal management systems, fire detection systems, a power conversion system, an overhead transmission line, access roads, a detention basin, security fencing, maintenance containers, and an on-site supervisory control and data acquisition system. The project will interconnect with the Sunflower Electric Power Corporation's transmission system and will have the capability of both charge from and discharge energy to the bulk electric grid. If the SUP is approved, the applicant anticipates the project's construction to commence in the spring of 2027 and estimates it'll take approximately 12 months to complete. The typical project life for a BESS project is approximately 20 to 25 years, although individual battery components may require replacement or augmentation after approximately 10 to 15 years. Many modern systems are designed for extended operational life beyond 25 years through modular replacement and augmentation strategies. The applicant has submitted preliminary information about decommissioning and restoration, which is referenced in Appendix G of their submittal, and will be required to submit a final decommissioning and restoration plan with the decommissioning agreement. Before the construction of the project can begin, the applicant must meet the following requirements. 1, submit an official site and building plans following the requirements of the Finney County Zoning Regulations, subdivision regulations, SUP application form, and BESS application form. Number 2, receive plan approval after completing the plan review process and receive an approved building permit. And number 3, enter into agreements with the county pursuant to the SUP application form, including a development agreement, decommissioning agreement, road use and maintenance agreement, and community benefit agreement. The applicant submitted an amendment to their application on April 5th of 2026 to reduce the total size of the project boundary, as you can see in the SUP addendum attachment. The applicant has the right and ability to shrink the SUP boundary at any time, but cannot expand the project boundary without proper notice. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the SUP on April 16th of 2026, and an excerpt of the meeting minutes are attached. The Board of County Commissioners may make its decision and state its findings in accordance with the criteria outlined in section 36.050 of the Finney County zoning regulations, and below is a complete list of these criteria. And these criteria are the same as I previously went over in the other item. The following is staff's analysis of the SUP evaluation criteria as listed in section 36.050 of the Finney County zoning regulations. And as stated in the previous item, staff has adjusted the staff analysis to reflect some of the concerns brought up during the public hearing at the Planning Commission meeting. So there is one item within the staff analysis, which is criteria number 24, which is opposition or support of neighborhood residents. In compliance with these requirements of the base SUP application form, the applicant has provided information detailing the project's neighborhood and community outreach, which is in Appendix M. There have been concerns that due to the nature of the sandhills, the project will cause significant adverse impacts on the natural environment. The land within the project area is currently used for irrigated crops. Residents are concerned that removing this ground from agricultural production will lead to significant erosion and increased blowing dust. To mitigate these issues, the applicant will be required to detail their vegetation plan through the site plan and permitting processes. The Finney County Economic Development Corporation has been working with specialists to develop a prairie native grass planting protocol for the project to utilize for the development within the sandhills. And there are two alternatives before you this morning. First, the Board of County Commissioners may approve the SUP to Sherlock Energy LLC to operate BESS by adopting Resolution 16-2026. Or the Board of County Commissioners may not approve the SUP to Sherlock Energy LLC to operate BESS. Staff recommends alternative 1. The Board of County Commissioners approve the SUP to Sherlock Energy LLC to operate BESS by adopting Resolution 16-2026. And there is no fiscal impact with this step of the process. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Mackenzie? Okay, and we'd like to hear from the project. Yes, Jesse, come on up.
I did notice one thing. So again, Jesse Groner, CEO, Triple Oak Power. I believe our LLC is Sherlock Energy Storage LLC. So I just want to make sure that gets, captured hopefully in your resolution. I'm going to defer here to Chris Baker from our team. He's our engineer, and he could speak to some of the technical aspects of battery storage. And again, of course, I'm happy to step back up and answer any questions, but I thought that might be useful.
All right, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time. My name is Chris Baker. I am the Senior Director of Engineering for Triple Oak. I'm a licensed professional engineer. Before I get into some of your questions, which I know you have, I'd like to do a brief introduction to my experience in the past that might be helpful for you. For the last 15 years, I've been a part of the design, construction, and operation of approximately 600 similar projects throughout the country, as well as international projects. Besides my project-specific stuff, I'm on the National Fire Protection Association Section 855 Writing Committee, which works on the codes and standards that are adopted by jurisdictions similar to yours that apply to projects like this. I've done a lot of these. I've been a part of them. I've seen things. I'm quite often involved as a consultant for insurance companies for post-incident emergency response plan review, for failure analysis. So it's been something I've done for quite some time, and my ultimate objective today is to share with you guys that I'm open. I'm here to be a resource to you guys to make sure that this project continues to be collaborative, sustainable, and open and honest. There was a question about water, so I'd love to just jump right into that one because I hear that's a sensitive topic. And to be honest, it's a sensitive topic everywhere. Excuse me. I want to make clear, these energy storage projects do not use water during operation. They use a glycol, like a radiator fluid like you see in your car. So they do not use water on a regular basis. The only water that will be present is we traditionally do a water tank to have on site in the event there is a fire incident, so that water is available to the first responders. It is the only water that's anticipated for these sites.
Any other questions? All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Jesse, do you have any further comments?
I don't, but I'm happy to again field any more questions about the battery topic in particular or the overall home range clean power plan.
I think now that we have addressed the issues with, or the topic of what the SUP actually is, I think maybe people feel more comfortable with the process. So hearing no other questions or comments, I would entertain a motion on this one.
Madam Chair, I move the commission to approve the Sherlock Best 16-2026 proposed supplemental use permit resolution. And please understand that the basis of the vote is on all of the factors of Article 36.050 as read aloud and as incorporated in the zoning regulations in this record.
Second.
And did you give the resolution number?
Yes.
Commissioner? Okay. Very good. We have a motion, a second. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll do another roll call. Commissioner Schultz?
Yes.
Commissioner Basque?
Yes.
Commissioner Utes?
Yes.
And a yes from Commissioner Gurman. And that motion carries. Very good. Thanks, Mackenzie.
Thank you.
Good job. And thank you to our team for working so hard to establish this process. It's been a long, arduous journey, but I feel good about the process that we have put into place. And it's interesting to hear that other communities are reaching out now and wanting to emulate our process, so it shows that we're doing things the right way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And on to staff reports. Derek, do you have anything for us today?
I would like to invite Director of Maintenance and Special Project Nolan Till to give an update on the Health Department Emergency Manager, or EMS building.
Okay.
Third time's a charm here.
I guess before you start, we'll notate that Commissioner Jones is back. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to give a quick update on the EMS Health Department building. Currently rocking and rolling. If you haven't driven down 8th Street or Mary over in that area, irrigation has been installed. They've seeded, including rock landscape, doors and hardware completed on both sides of the facility. Flooring's completed. Currently finishing up some of the building systems. That's the HVAC system and making sure it's all tested and balanced. Hutton will be setting up their final cleaning punch list this week. And then once that's completed, probably here in a couple weeks, Goldberg Architects will be walking with county employees and completing their punch list. And then whatever we have, Hutton will go back through and make sure that's all completed. FF&E, furniture has been ordered. We just ordered that last week. Fixtures and equipment, we'll be going through ordering that over the next few weeks with delivery date last week of July, first week of August, and then we'll get everything installed. And then right now, we have move-in day is right before Labor Day, so about a month and a week ahead of schedule. But yeah, it's moving really well. I think communications will probably be doing a post here in the next week or so with just an update of what it looks like on the inside. Looks like a building now. I mean, everything's up, everything's painted, looking good. We did just receive owner contingency. Hutton released another $130,000 back to us. So
Nice.
yeah, that's the second time they've done that. So, any questions?
Any questions for Nolan?
Paid for defibrillators.
Yeah.
AEDs, defibrillators, yeah.
No, thank you.
All right. Absolutely. Thanks, Nolan. I just want to commend you, too. I'm really excited about the future of Finney County with you on board. I am excited.
Thank you.
Seeing the changes that you're making.
Thank you.
Further, I'd like to add that staff is working with McCown Gordon on final pricing for the jail and detention center. Their preliminary estimates date around August for the guaranteed maximum price, so that will come for the governing body at that time. And we're also working with HMN Architects to go through the LEC design and ultimately go through the process of selecting a CMAR as well. So that will come time probably late summer.
All right, very good. And meetings of note, we might put those up on the screen, and then we can go right into commissioner reports. And who'd like to start today? Commissioner Jones, you haven't said anything for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I can see why everybody likes to sit back there in those tall chairs. It's very comfortable. The only thing I have to report on is they had a Workforce One call, and since Workforce One has taken over some more areas of the state, they're having a work through of some of their paid contractors, and so it's going to be a long process. But they also had storm damage at their office in Salina, and so I'm not real sure where they're being housed now, but they're looking for temporary facilities. Other than that, let's see, we have as Nolan says, we have a construction meeting tomorrow at the EMS building.
Very good. Commissioner Schultz?
The service to the Senior Citizen Center commenced with a meeting both with staff and with the board. Concerns from the Senior Center were about enhanced funds from the county to meet payroll issues. I did not suggest to outside agencies that there was extra money in the pipeline, but instead that the commission was supportive of the mission of the Senior Center. But I would not agree that this commission was going to have further funding for outside agencies other than what we have proposed in the past, depended upon a majority decision of the full commission. My service on the Compass Board is a tremendous opportunity to learn more about what is going on in our community. I'm very excited about the city's use of managers, social workers, therapists, in right along with the city, and there's no reason why we can't expand that to the county, so that our calls that are occasioned with law enforcement and persons in mental health crises continues to avoid imprisoning or arresting folks that are in mental health crisis and need mental health services, rather than occupying time in our jails at a couple $100 a day. This would be a wise investment, and there's a lot of new things going on of how we can put mental health services to work on the street, not just in the court system after the fact, and be more proactive in providing mental health services to the community, even those persons where law enforcement has been called upon to come diffuse a circumstance where a person may be in crisis. It's an interesting time in the mental health services world. As you know, the state, and I don't want to lay blame on the legislature at every turn or every meeting, but there were substantial cuts to Medicaid services, which include mental health services. And we need to remind everybody that goes and serves in Topeka that at the ground level of government, which is here at the county level, we see the need for mental health services to be provided locally. We have the duty to do so. We need some assistance from the people in Topeka that take such large measures out of our economy that some of those mental health dollars make it back to our community. On behalf of Compass, I'm their voice here, and I really want to encourage folks to stay tuned for all the developments and good things that are happening. Compass now employs 303 people, up from 200 just less than 2 years ago. So it's a monumental increase of mental health services and the provision of mental health services in all of Southwest Kansas, that is in Syracuse, or not in Syracuse, but Ulysses, Dodge City, Garden, and Scott City, where their main offices are. I also attended the chamber breakfast. Interesting things that are going on in our community. It's always good to be able to see what the voters are thinking, and they don't have any hesitation in telling you what's on their mind, especially about the special use permits that we just approved, and there'll be more to come. The last thing is the wonderful opportunity to just watch Garden City celebrate, and this is Beef Empire Days with a parade and so forth. I look forward to 4th of July and our concerns with regard to fireworks and so forth. But, you know, fireworks going off in our community and parades of sharing our heritage with everyone who lives in our community is an awesome opportunity to be a community leader, to watch us grow and prosper. And it's been a wonderful spring. The provision of rain from our Creator has been really well received, and we gracefully and humbly ask for more, and at the same time, I'd like to give special thanks to Trish Voth for her work on the supplemental use permits, along with Kara Schartz, our county counselor, and in consultation with Lana Duvall at Economic Development. Our special use permit process is unique. It's one of a kind, and nobody else has done it and this way, and the product of hard work. I do want to commend all of the people that have worked so hard on those applications thus far to provide a program, a hearing process, and a resolution of the hearing process that keeps the community's best interest in mind first. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Commissioner Basque.
Really, the only thing I have of interest is, and I think all of you guys probably received information from the West Plains Extension, but Scott County recently voted to withdraw from the West Plains Extension, which includes Finney County and Scott County. I think that it will actually go into effect on January 1st of 2027. And so the current setup with board members from both counties will continue until that time. I assume that they will be working between now and then to divide assets and things such as that. And then I'm sure that our county administrator is probably working to figure out budgetary process for making that happen and how it's going to happen and what it's going to look like. So that was something that wasn't necessarily anticipated, because fairly recently the board had voted to continue staying involved with that, but apparently Scott County decided that it was in their best interest to withdraw. So that's where we're at, and I'm guessing that during our budget hearings and everything, there will be some inclusion now of, I guess, Finney County Extension is what it will be instead of West Plains, so.
Yes, that is correct.
Question, Commissioner, have any of the other counties expressed interest in stepping in after Scott County decided to leave, Kearney or Wichita or?
Yeah, I have not heard any discussion about that. The last meeting that they had was basically, well, I don't even know that there was even discussion about Scott County withdrawing. I don't think that that was even on the agenda item, and I think that they received notice the same way that we've all received notice, and so it wasn't even a topic. But I'm guessing that how to move forward by January 1st will be the topic of every meeting from now until the end of the year.
All right, Commissioner Utes.
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
All right, I just have a couple of things. I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. I attended the Finney County Economic Development Board meeting, and again, I'm going to have to recommend that you, if you haven't watched that you go in and watch that on YouTube. Excellent presentations by Lana and by Shannon Dick. regarding basically the history of Finney County and the projects that Finney County Economic Development has been involved in over the last 15-ish years. So it was really interesting, especially if you like history. And I would encourage everybody to get involved and join in the celebration of Beef Empire Days. And that's all I have.
Madam Chair, one more
Yes.
thing. If you really want to see the basis of Beef Empire Days, tomorrow is the live show, judging. And that's what started this whole process.
Very
So
good.
if you, it's 9 o'clock at the fairgrounds.
Thank you. And we do have need for an executive session. I've called for that regarding non-elected personnel to include the Board of County Commissioners for, I would say, 20 minutes. So let's, well, after maybe a 10-minute break, let's reconvene.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
Board of County Commissioners and anybody else attending?
no, just the Board of County Commissioners.
I move that we go into executive session for a period of 20 minutes commencing at 11:25 with only the commissioners present.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. We'll be back at 11:45. We have a motion to return from executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion in a couple of seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. I can confirm no action was taken. And next commission meetings, June 15, July 6, July 20th, and August 3rd. Those will all be regular session, no planned special meetings that you're aware of.
None.
All right, we do have a special meeting this afternoon from 1 to 4, if anybody's interested in that. And otherwise, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries as well. Thanks, everybody, for your time this morning and all the work that you've put into this.